Thank you, Senator Heitkamp.
Thank you. And Senator Corker gave you, welcome.
Thank you.
Start there. Gave you a 5-year window. How likely is it that we're going to see a 3% growth in the next 2 years?
Well, I think that would be
Quite challenging.
Difficult.
Yeah, we heard that. So I mean, I think there's strategies we should all pursue, because I think it's got to be one of the goals in fiscal and monetary policy to look at what we can do to get out of the flat growth rate of 2%. And I think there's a lot of people now basically saying we're in a perpetual 2% growth, too mature, the economy's too mature, the economy's too sluggish to ever get there. And so I think it's critically important that we examine strategies together on very real strategies, not make-believe, which just, asking for productivity so you can mask a political agenda. So I'll just leave it there. What percent of export growth in the last 2 years do you think has been related to commodities and agriculture?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number in front of me. I can get back to you on it, but
That would be great, because I think what you're going to find is that when you look at export growth, one of the great stories has really been an increase in exports of oil, an increase in exports of energy, and certainly agricultural exports are always a great story when we're talking about balance of trade. Unfortunately, right now, as you know, commodities are getting particularly hard hit.
Yep.
North Dakota is a commodity-dependent state in a lot of ways. And the dollar values being high never help us, in my opinion. But we're challenged with bad weather, but we're also challenged with a lot of uncertainty in the trade sector. Are we going to continue to have the trade regime that we currently have in NAFTA? Are we going to be able to do things within a bilateral context in the Asia-Pacific rim that will replace, in fact, the promise of TPP? These are all great challenges. How do you see the trade disruption, trade policy disruption, having an impact on agricultural exports and commodity prices?
So I really don't want to wade in detail into trade policy, which is the responsibility of Congress and the administration.
But you would agree that it is part of, trade policy is part of our opportunity for economic growth, part of our overall economic, a critical component to our economic growth. You would agree?
It certainly has been.
Okay. When you're I think we all understand the benefit of low commodity prices in terms of bringing down cost of production for companies, and it's increased the disposable income for consumers. But at the same time, we haven't seen the type of boost to the economic growth and GDP that you would suggest, just even taking a look at what's happened with gasoline prices, what's happened with natural gas prices as either an input in the chemical industry or as a major component of manufacturing costs. How are you weighing this tension as you consider further reduction in the Fed's balance sheet, along with possible hikes to interest rates?
So we're considering the overall economic outlook relative to our objectives of maximum employment and price stability. And commodity prices, energy, oil prices certainly feed into our view of the outlook. For example, the huge decline we saw in oil prices is certainly something that substantially depressed investment spending in the United States, although it was a plus for consumers. We're now seeing a pickup in drilling activity, which is supporting spending on plant and equipment. But we need to look overall at all sectors of the economy. And I guess I'd summarize that by saying, although there are varied trends in different sectors, this year we've had 180,000 jobs a month. Last year, slightly more, about 190,000. This has been going on for a long time. It's been, we can't really control the distribution of jobs across sectors that are created, but it has been driving a stronger and stronger labor market with unemployment rates that are now at close to historically low levels.
Just to lay down a marker, I would suggest that the reduction in commodity prices, the challenges of the commodity industry, whether it's agriculture, whether it's energy, when you look at job growth in those very difficult times after 2008, a large percentage of that job growth was equated to energy job growth. And so it's critically important that we not just look at one side of the equation.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's the point that I want to make. And any analysis on commodity prices in the context of the greater national economy and productivity, and maybe any little statement you can make on trade, we'll follow up with questions. Thank you so much, Chairwoman.
Thank you, Senator.